And then moving on to what was known as the RSA Chase, now the Brown Advisory Novices Chase. Of course, Brian, you might talk us through last year's winner, probably one of the most iconic finishes of last year, which was Barry Geraghty aboard champ.
Yeah, if you ever wanted to see how good a rider Barry Geraghty ever was, I mean, I always, like a lot of people, never really filled him with confidence towards the end of his career. Thought he was too old, thought he was too this, thought, oh yeah, he's finished, he's this, and then he comes out last year at Cheltenham and rides like he's just 22 again. I mean, I've always been a big fan of Barry Geraghty's, and this was one of his best rides I've ever, like. I mean, he just has he had such an attitude with champ that it was just like he always knew that there was something there to give. And I think he was 4 lengths second, or 4 or 5 lengths second, jumping the last fence, or
I'd
third
say even more. I'd say even more. Like, yeah, he was third. Yeah. But
and
he was.
he
Yeah.
absolutely just tore up like a train. And I mean, it's very hard, as you said. Like you'd have to go back at. I can't remember the last time I've seen the Cheltenham horse finish up the hill like that. I think it was just incredible, and it was a credit to him, because a lot of other riders would have given up in that sense. They would have just said they would have taken the third at that, and probably would have just, even if they felt there was more to be given. Some of them just mightn't have the capabilities of that. Now, look, I wouldn't be the greatest analyst of jockeys. I don't really find it fair to criticize them, seeing as I've never actually ridden a horse before. So I actually can't turn around and say that was a bad ride, that was this, because I've never been in that situation. So it's hard to actually judge that. But I mean, Geraghty, in my opinion, even all the time watching him, he's just a joy to look at. And I mean, that was just a brilliant ride, the way that he guided him back up the hill. And I think Manel Indo was just crying for the line by the end of it, like just wanted it just to become there. Maybe Manel Indo and Alaho took the race by the scruff of the neck, and maybe that gallop that they went at just caught them in the last 50 yards. And I mean, like, it was so close. Like, the margins were so fine, but it was an excellent race. It was probably the race of the festival last year.
I was just going to say, it was some race, and even during it, like you said, Alo and Minalindo led pretty much throughout, and they were out jumping each other. It was brilliant. Like, and then Champ wins it at the end, madly.
And he's a good Mead man, Brian.
Exactly, he's from Drumree. That's what my granny was always a good story I used to have about Barry Geraghty. My granny would never back too much else other than what he was riding for years. And a lot of the time she got success out of it.
She would have had a very good chat last year.
Yeah.
And since retired now, Barry, look at the favourite again. Look, I suppose we're talking about Willie Mullins and Paul Townend, but you know, Cheltenham brings the best out of people. And Dan, I go to you on Monkfish. Won the Albert Bartlett last year, 3 from 3 chase, and won Christmas and the Dublin Racing Festival. There's not much to not like about Monkfish.
Yeah, like I've been trying to not get him beats the wrong word, but I've been back in the latest exhibition against him, which has cost me a fair few bob, I'll be honest with you. The Albert Bartlett, like, you know, I suppose Monkfish was brilliant the way a lot of things went wrong and he still won it, but he's not a hurdler, like, so the fact he actually won that race, looking back on it, was very impressive now. Yeah, as I said, I was trying to get him beat the last 2 times in Leopardstown, and you know, when he Monkfish turned the corner, you know, quickened up away from latest exhibition last time, I just said, yeah, that geez, I'm going to stop. I'm going to actually get that back on this horse. And yeah, I find it hard in this race to look at anyone else other than Monkfish. Like, he's already, I think, I'm not sure the exact price, so I'll check it out in a second.
8 to 11 I have.
Yeah, sorry, 8 to 11, I know that, but sorry, the 10 to 1, I think, for next year's Gold Cup. Which you're kind of looking at.
He's the favourite for next year's Gold Cup already.
Yeah. I'll check it out in a sec to be sure of that 10 to 1, but geez, you wouldn't be all, you kind of look, geez, that's too short, and then you think about
it. Put in a double.
Yeah, exactly. But he is, he's amazing. He's an amazing horse, and I do think it's important. The likes of him and Envoy Allen, it's we need to appreciate these horses, because anything can happen in any given time to a horse, and these 2 horses running at the moment is unbelievable. Like, it really is. You can if Shishkin wins the Arkle, you could maybe throw him in that category as well. But yeah, Monkfish, an absolutely machine. I won't say anything that anyone else doesn't know. It's just I was so impressed with him last time in Leopardstown. The way he jumps a fence. He's just like the perfect type for a Gold Cup, and this is obviously the novices Gold Cup, for want of a better description, of what was formerly the RSA. And yeah, like, I know it's a novice chase, and I've been sucked into these odds on short shots before, but he'll be going in my multiples Monkfish anyway. Like, it'll be interesting. Yeah, I'd be interested in the latest exhibition if he does run here to maybe follow him in behind, but like, all the talk is he'll probably go to Ferry House. I think Paul Nolan was a bit kind of disheartened after the last time finishing. You know, there's only so many times you can finish second to a horse, but they will be devastated now if latest exhibition doesn't go here and something does happen to Monkfish. But yeah, Monkfish for me, to be honest with you. I hate to be boring, but I'm really looking forward just to watch him running in Cheltenham. It's going to be absolutely amazing.
That's an interesting point Dan makes there, Brian, about trying to appreciate these horses, because like we've seen down over the years at Cheltenham, something can happen to them. I remember the Sir Eric one. That was a real shock, not only to JP, but to Joseph O'Brien as well. Is Monkfish the real deal?
I was probably the only person. I was one of the only people cheering with that Sir Eric race. It was devastating. But about 6 weeks before that Triumph Hurdle, when I was working in Eanons, I got a tip for Penton Hills at 33-1 off a fella. After he won, I think it was at Fontwell or somewhere like that, or it might have been. I can't remember.
One of his 1,000 owners probably told you that, did he?
Oh yeah, he had loads of owners. But I remember being told about it. It was about 6 or 8 weeks before Cheltenham, and another guy who works with me in the pub backed it as well, and he was there that day. And he said just the way the story went when Sir Eric, obviously, unfortunately, was just a shocking incident when he had to be put down. And he was saying that the whole place was just there was a real surreal atmosphere. And he was probably one of about 100 people out of 67,000 that was actually cheering when the thing came back. But you don't want to be cheering too heavily after what happened. But he'd have to make a fortune of cash because he'd have 20 quid each way at 33-1. So I wouldn't blame him in that sense. I backed it at that price as well. But no, to go back to what you're saying, before Monkfish came about on the scene, the best jumper of events I ever saw in my whole life was Vautour, and I'd find it very, very hard to ever find anything else other than this. But Monkfish is definitely in this Vautour category. I think Simon Hall described Vautour the year he won the Ryanair as a Giselle in equine form, and I think that Monkfish really fits that description too. I think he was just flawless at the Dublin Racing Festival. He was so good. He was very good at Christmas, but he just looked like that he was just doing enough to win the race. And whatever button was clicked after he jumped the final fence at the Dublin Racing Festival put you into this sort of it was awesome. And it would have been brilliant to be there to clap in these guys, because it's just, you have to really appreciate what you're with here. It's hard, and what's funny is he's dominating the field with quite good with horses in this. There are some good types in this race. I mean, a case can be made here for a few of these. I've done a Cheltenham accumulator already, and Monkfish is in it. I wouldn't be putting anyone off putting him into my accumulator. I think he's probably one of the bankers of the week. I would have no doubt in saying that. It's boring saying that, because obviously he's the fucking 8-11. Who wants to be backing him at that price? But if you're to be looking for value in this race, value can be found in the big breakaway at 12-1. I think he was very, very good at Cheltenham last November. I think he ran there. He was a very taken winner of a 3-mile novice chase. Won it easy. Yeah, fair enough. He mightn't have had the run of the race maybe at Exeter the last time. I think that trip was too short, 2 miles and 3. Don't think he really likes it. Then he went to Kempton for the Cotto Star novices and was second behind Shan Blue. There's nothing wrong with that form. I think that form is quite solid. He was very good at Cheltenham last November. And he's a big, lovely looking jumper of a horse that shows that he has potential. And I would have no issue in backing him at 12-1 for Colin Tizard. Puppy will probably ride that horse. I think he's always spoken of him as being a good contender. I mean, I was listening to him a couple of times, speaking on RT and on ITV Race and these sort of things, and he's always spoken good things about the big breakaway. So I wouldn't have an issue in backing him at 12-1 up against Monkfish. He mightn't beat him, but I mean, each way money is what you're getting at. Sporting John is 14-1. Would I be backing him? No. Purely for the reason that he's an awful jumper, and yet he still managed to beat Chamblou the last day at Sandown and win that novices chase. I don't know how he managed to do it, but he was
very, very big price in running, wasn't he?
Yeah, huge. I think he was 50 or 66-1. But I mean, he was probably bigger than that, should I say? But his jumping just was awful, and he still managed to beat Chamblou. Fair enough, that mightn't speak well for the big breakaways for him, but at the same time, he stays, but I wouldn't be confident in his jumping, because that's what Cheltenham is all about. This is a much sounder test, even though Sandown is a very, very good, is probably the second best track in England after Cheltenham with the quality of what you're dealing with there. It's an excellent track. It's very similar, only that it just goes the other way. But if you're to back one in this, as I said to you, I would like the big breakaway 12-1. I'd back that. Next Destination as an entry here. He's 8-1. Good jumper, stays, was second at Cheltenham before, knows his way around the place. New owners probably brought a bit more life into him. Galvin is an entry here, probably won't run. Pencil Full of Lead is an entry here. Interesting to see if he'll run. Remastered was a good winner at Ascot last week. He stays the trip too. I'd have no issue in backing him at 20-1. I wouldn't put anybody off backing him, because I think if anyone is going to really challenge up against Monkfish here, it's probably going to come from England. I don't think that the Irish really have much of a say in this. Coco Beach was a good winner at Navan last week, good winner of the Tiestes Chase. Interesting to see where he'll go. He's an entry here. Not sure if he'll run. If I was, like I said to you, I'd probably back the big breakaway, or if I was back another one, I would back if the cap fits. He was third in that Colo Stars novice at Christmas. He was second after that. He won a grade 1 over 3 miles at entry as a novice hurdler. Can't stay this trip. He's 25-1. I'd like a bit of that value. Harry Fry is that. Daryl Jacob would probably right. He seems to be Simon Munir's best hope in this. So look, yeah, I think it's all about the favourite here. As I said to you, because we're at this stage with all these multiple entries, it's quite hard to delve into which ones of these are actually going to go here. Most notably, Royal Pagaille is in this. We haven't spoken about him yet. I mean, will they run him in this? I don't know. I mean, he's very impressive. It's hard to know what he's beaten, but I mean, you can't be taken away by his performances. And if he manages to, if Venetia Williams puts him in this race, now it's probably going to come down from Rich Ritchie as he owns both of them, so he'll probably have the final say in this. And I mean, if he runs against this, it could be the battle of the festival. It really could, because I said, yeah, I wouldn't be putting anyone off back in Monkfish. I think he's been flawless. He's been excellent, but he hasn't faced anything like what Royal Pagaille is like. And I just think that 7-2, I probably wouldn't back him to win, but it'll be a fair duel if he does run on it. I mean, it could cause serious things. I'd say they'll probably go for the Gold Cup, but I mean, like if he runs in this, it could turn into a serious dogfight between the two of them.
Yeah, he's 8-1 for the Gold Cup.
Yeah, it'd be interesting. He could go National Hunt Chase. I think, like Brian, will probably go Gold Cup. I can't see Rich Ritchie taking on Monkfish against Royal Pagaille, to be honest with you. So, just on Brian's point about the big breakaway, like he's, Colin Tizard horses haven't really been firing this year. They do sometimes tend to go well during the spring, and yeah, you can definitely make the case. Like when I think it was he third or fourth. I think it was fourth maybe in the Ballymore, a good bit behind Envoy Allen, but like he's a chaser in the making, fourth. Yeah, so. Yeah, I wouldn't probably put you off there, but I'm really looking forward to watching Monkfish. Don't know if it'd be a betting race for me personally. Maybe someone without the favourite when the final field is declared. As they said, there's a lot of multiple entries, but Jesus, like Monkfish, I can't wait to watch him. 3 miles, like just have that on loop to watch him and Envoy Allen obviously in the marsh. Those two, I just can't hide how excited I am to watch those two.
With some Gold Cup next year.
Oh, I know we're awful at I was on iRadio there mentioned last week, and I just had to bring it up. I was like, well, we got some Gold Cup coming up next year between Monkfish and Envoy Allen. So, Jesus, please God, they both get there. But both win their races this year. Tuck them away, keep them safe, and then next year we'll have the best Gold Cup of all time. So
I'm sure Monkfish is one of those horses that when Ruby's retired, he probably looks back and gone, if I just stayed on another couple of years, I would have had a few good winners out of it.
Yeah, he's definitely the strongest book that Willie Mullins has brought, and that's saying something to Cheltenham. So I think he has half the favourites out of the 28 races. So.